In the top stories, a new pediatric therapy facility has opened to expand services for children and families in St. Kitts and Nevis. The small aircraft that vanished on a flight from St. Vincent to Tobago on Friday has been found, and a 6.7 magnitude earthquake has injured at least 8 people in Indonesia. Hello and welcome to the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of June, 2026. I'm Jason Davis. Nationally, children and families across St. Kitts and Nevis now have greater access to specialized therapy services following the opening of a new pediatric therapy facility in Limekiln. The center is a partnership between the Discovery Center, the Star Foundation, and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. Operating from the CMR building, the facility will provide outpatient pediatric services, including speech and language therapy, as well as occupational therapy for children with developmental, sensory, and motor skill challenges. Minister of Education, Deputy Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, said the opening reflects the Federation's commitment to expanding support for children and families, including those affected by autism spectrum disorder. He said early intervention, accessible services, and evidence-based care are essential to helping children reach their full potential. The ceremony also recognized the contributions of Dr. Cheryl Rosen, who has spent more than a decade advancing services for children with special needs and who founded the Spectrum Services Center in 2018. Officials say the facility will help expand access to therapy services while providing additional support for families throughout the Federation. The Solid Waste Management Corporation says firefighters are working to contain a major fire at the Basseterre landfill after flames spread from a construction and demolition area into a tire storage section of the facility. The corporation issued a public advisory on Monday as emergency crews continued operations at the site. According to officials, the fire originated in the landfill's construction and demolition cell before spreading to the tire storage area, overwhelming initial on-site suppression efforts. The incident prompted concerns about possible disruptions at the Robert L. Bradshaw International Airport. However, the St. Christopher Air and Seaport Authority has confirmed that the runway remains safe and airport operations are continuing as normal. Residents in nearby communities are being urged to monitor air quality conditions and take precautions against smoke exposure. Health officials are encouraging persons to keep windows and doors closed and limit outdoor activity, particularly for children, the elderly, and those with respiratory conditions. In other national news, Senior Meteorological Officer Elmo Burke has confirmed that the ongoing drought has led to a severe drop in rainfall across the Federation. Speaking at a NEMA press conference on Friday, Burke said St. Kitts and Nevis received less than half the normally expected rainfall up to the end of May.
We here in St. Kitts and Nevis, based on the rainfall totals observed at the RLB airport up to the end of May, we would have seen a reduction of 6.84 inches compared to our climatology or our long-term average of 15.5 inches. Again, I said we have seen a reduction of 6.84 inches when compared to 15.5 inches by this time of the year. That is, we have received only 8.66 inches of rainfall by the end of May.
Burke also explained just how serious the situation has become.
Put simply, we have received only 44%. Put simply, we have received 44% less rainfall up to the end of May when compared to our long-term average. And when we look at our long-term average, we are looking at the period 1990 to 2020. What we have recorded so far in June has done very little to improve the situation here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
As of June 12, St. Kitts and Nevis had received just 1.3 millimeters of rain compared to the 3.4 inches normally recorded by this point in previous years. Burke stressed the need for the public to conserve water.
As drought conditions are likely to persist through this hurricane season at varying intensity, it is important that we begin to conserve now and not wait until later in the event conditions do not improve significantly.
Senior Meteorological Officer Elmo Burke. Moving now to news on the regional scene, authorities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines say a small aircraft that disappeared while flying to Tobago has been located with no loss of life. Minister of National Security Sinclair Leacock confirmed on Monday that the Dominican Republic registered aircraft had been found following a search effort that included the regional security system and CARICOM impacts. Officials have not disclosed the location of the aircraft or provided details about the condition of the two people who were on board. The twin-engine Beechcraft Baron departed Argyle International Airport last Friday on a flight to Tobago, but failed to arrive at its scheduled destination. Authorities are continuing their investigations but declined to release further operational details, citing security concerns. The Pan American Health Organization is calling on countries across the Americas to strengthen immunization programs following a sharp increase in diphtheria cases this year. According to a new epidemiological alert, 163 confirmed cases of diphtheria, including 5 deaths, were reported in the region during the first 21 weeks of 2026. That figure is more than double the number of cases reported during the same period last year. Brazil, Haiti, and Peru have all recorded infections, with Haiti accounting for the vast majority of cases as well as all 5 deaths. PAHO said more than half of those infected were either unvaccinated or had an unknown vaccination status. Health officials warned that regional vaccination coverage remains below the 95% threshold recommended to prevent outbreaks, leaving some communities vulnerable to the disease. The organization is urging countries to close immunization gaps, strengthen disease surveillance, improve outbreak detection, and ensure adequate supplies of life-saving treatment. Diphtheria is a highly serious bacterial infection that can cause severe breathing problems, damage to the heart and nervous systems, and in some cases, death. Internationally, a strong earthquake struck Indonesia's central Sulawesi province today, injuring at least 8 people and causing damage to buildings in several communities. The 6.7 magnitude earthquake hit near the city of Palu, an area still remembered for the devastating earthquake and tsunami that killed thousands of people in 2018. Authorities say at least 8 people were injured, including 2 who suffered serious injuries. Hospitals in the area evacuated patients as a precaution, while emergency officials continued to assess the full extent of the damage. Images from the scene showed buildings with collapsed roofs, cracked walls, and debris scattered across streets. Several aftershocks followed, including one measuring 5.2 in magnitude. Officials say damage assessments are continuing in 3 districts near the epicenter, where more than 1 million people live. At least 9 people, including 2 children, were killed in Zimbabwe today after a freight train collided with a bus at a railway crossing. Railway officials say the bus driver failed to stop and check for an approaching train before crossing the tracks. At least 25 other people were injured and taken to hospital for treatment. Images from the scene show the bus badly damaged beside the railway line and debris scattered across the area. The tragedy comes less than a week after 7 school children were killed when a minibus caught fire in central Zimbabwe. Road safety officials say traffic accidents remain a major concern in Zimbabwe, where human error is blamed for the vast majority of crashes. And now for a look at the weather. A ridge of high pressure will continue to limit shower activity across St. Kitts and Nevis during the next 24 hours. Partly sunny conditions are expected across the Federation with only a 20% or slight chance of a brief light shower. Tonight, skies will be fair to partly cloudy. Temperatures will reach a high of 33 degrees Celsius or 91 degrees Fahrenheit with an overnight low of 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be from the east at 7 to 18 miles per hour. Seas are moderate with waves expected to range between 1 and 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. Sunset today is at 6:46 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:37 a.m. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jason Davis.